Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and it's first impressions time on this magnificent thing. This is my 2021 Munroe Sigil. This is not a Microtech sigil, but it is the design of the Microtech sigil. The Microtech sigil is based on this knife. This is a custom, kind of, a very small batch production knife, I guess you could more accurately say. But the way I understand it, it's just a guy who makes these. Munroe, I assume, is his last name. I really don't know much about the guy, to be honest. I should probably learn some more about him. But it's a CNC built knife, from what I understand. And it's bananas. I just posted a picture on Instagram right before filming this of this knife, and I put my caption as "It's bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S," and then I said it was a quote by Gwen Stefani, because this knife is bananas. It really just, it's insane. So I got this from my buddy Spirited Blades. He was lucky enough to get it from a drop, and I have been failing at the drops every time that they've happened on these. There haven't been very many of them. This knife in particular is knife number 5 of this variant. So there have been a few iterations of this knife so far, kind of Mark 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing, version, etc. I don't know what the official name of this one is. On the ownership card it says 2021 Sigil, so apparently this iteration started in 2021. I think that it's like a Mark 4 or a V4 of the knife, and it's got some differences from the other variants. But I've never handled another custom sigil. I'm not super well versed in the intricacies of what is going on here, but I can talk about this one in particular because it's mine. I have this knife. I bought it. It's the most expensive knife I have ever purchased. It was a hefty price tag, and I'm not regretting it, at least not yet. I am really enjoying this knife, and I've been carrying it, and I've been cutting with it. Nothing insane, but you can probably see on the edge right now there's some schmutz. I have been using this. I used it to cut some stuff today, mostly tape and paper, but stuff, right? It's this isn't a safe queen for me, because I knew if I got it and I didn't carry it, then I wouldn't keep it. That's just kind of the way it works for me. If I have something in the collection that doesn't get carried because it's too nice, it's too pretty, whatever, it's not worth it to me to keep around. So anyway, I've had this now for a couple of days. I need to knock out my first impressions before it becomes full review type of territory. But I have just carried this constantly because I want to so bad, because it's so exciting to me, because I like it so much. It has commanded my pocket time. Been carrying it as a primary every single time. This is like a perfect primary size knife for me. The Microtech version, many more people will be familiar with than this custom version, right? The Microtech version has a 3 3/4 inch blade, if I'm not mistaken. This one is 3.5, so it's a little bit smaller than the Microtech version, but still an adequately sized knife. It's not a mini or a small knife. It's just that the other one is a little bigger. But the design, you'll notice on the surface, you can immediately tell that this is a sigil. This is the same knife design. The profile is identical. The hole shape, the blade shape, the handle profile, all of it is identical. But there is so much happening here that is different from the Microtech. It's a lot of little things. Like, again, it's the same basic shape, same basic features, but the intricacy of the milling on this knife is just wild. The way that everything is like stair-stepped in a tight enough way that it's not sharp or uncomfortable, but it's like chamfering that's done by using a bunch of tiny right angles. It almost reminds me of like machined blades, like on a Grimsmo Norseman or something, how they machine it in and there's like, you can see the steps in it, and it still feels smooth to the finger touch because it's so minute, the steps. This is more dramatic than that, but it feels comfortable in hand, even though there's a lot of like angles happening here, which is just wild. The milling pattern on the scales to me seems like a little bit I don't know, it's kind of like sci-fi, like ancient relic, but like robotic. I don't know if that's a realistic way of describing a thing, but that's kind of the vibe I get from this knife. It looks like something that was dug up from 4,000 years ago, but it was built by aliens. Like, it's just really, really cool to me. I love that milling everywhere on the knife. I love, you can even see on the clip the way it's milled, and then you've got those dots across the clip. You've got dots that mirror that on the backspacer. The finishing is gorgeous. This pivot is the coolest pivot I've ever seen in my entire life, and in the center of it, that lighter material is silver, which is really rad. And then you've got silver on this side as well. You can see there's a lighter ring within the pivot. It's just all of these little things. Even look at the way the kind of relief is cut to get your finger in and disengage the lock. It's stepped as well. And then internally, there's a crap ton of milling. It is super hollowed out inside, which makes it nice and light, both in hand and in pocket. There's like, I don't know, ever since I first opened this knife, I have just been kind of lost in it. Like, I keep just staring at it for long periods of time. Like, I don't think I ever have done with a knife before. And I've experienced some pretty crazy knives, right? Like, the knife that I sold to be able to fund this was a custom Keynesen, handmade, gorgeous knife. I will be getting another Keynesen at some point, probably in a more user finish, so that I'll actually use and carry it. But that knife was stunning, but relatively simple in its construction, especially because it's an earlier Keynesen. Then I have knives like the Arius, which is stunning to me. I love the Arius, and it has a lot of really nice little details on it. But compared to this, it feels really simple. It's not a simple knife. There's a lot of like compounding features that make it as great as it is. But knives like the Quantum, I have a Shiro Quantum right now. That knife has a lot of really cool features on it. But this just, it takes the cake on tiny little details sprinkled all over it. Just the way everything fits, everything functions, everything is assembled, the hardware inside on the backspacer. I don't know if I can possibly get the light in there at all to show you, but you've got the Munroe kind of maker's mark inside on the backspacer etched on there. Yeah, I just, it baffles me how ridiculously nice it is. Even the chamfering inside of the opening hole is crazy. So yeah, I'm elated with this knife so far, and I've been really, really impressed with how it carries. I'll go in depth in my full review talking about carry, cutting, ergos, and action and all that, but so far I've been happy with how it carries. The pocket clip isn't my favorite pocket clip I've ever experienced, but it's been really, really good. The carry profile is great. It's light. The action has been fun but different. This isn't like a super drop shutty, like free fall type of knife, but it's smooth and controlled and glassy. Got multiple deployment methods. I have figured out how to thumb flick it. You gotta, oh, I did it weird because I'm sideways here, man. All right, I can do it sometimes, I promise. I've sent videos to my friends. Come on. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna middle finger flick it here on camera. Yeah, I'll post a story on Instagram of me thumb flicking it. Oh man, why am I? There we go. I did it, guys. Yeah, I middle finger flick this knife 90% of the time that I open it because I can. The flipper is also super fun. It's just, it's the right size for me. It's the right blade shape for me. It's S90V, which I love S90V personally for my type of like use case that this knife would fall into. S90V is an excellent choice on it. It's also nice to me, knives in this territory, this caliber. Table price, I was actually wrong in my unboxing. I said it was $1,200. Table price on these is $1,350. I was corrected after a lot of knives in this range, whether they're handmade or CNC like this, or just kind of in this caliber, right? You see a lot of like CPM 154 and like stuff that just does not excite me at all. And so the idea, or like just cool, like looking Damascus stuff that somehow adds exorbitant amounts of value to knives, even though it functionally is inferior to many blade steels. This is S90V, and I love that. I love that this is a steel that I can use the way I want to use this knife, and it will be excellent for it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is the right kind of build for me to be playing in this range, where it's got all these subtle, little, small, intricate touches that are insane. They're phenomenal to look at. They feel fantastic. They just exude quality, right? But at the end of the day, it's a pretty friendly user finish on both blade and handle and clip and everything, right? And it's the right size. It's the right materials. Everything just comes together for it to be a knife that I'll actually put in my pocket. I'll actually pull out, and I'll actually cut things with. Which otherwise, why should I be playing in this range? It's kind of the way I still feel. I know there were many times where I said I probably would take a long time to get into like playing with customs and knives at this level. And I've kind of surprised myself how quickly I've fallen down this hole. But I still don't really find any attraction to knives that are just really cool looking. Attraction I do find. So to say I don't find any is the wrong word. But I don't find enough utility to justify it for me. And this, I'm finding, has so much utility for me. This is a knife I can carry and I can use. And I can fidget with. And I can show off. And I can take really cool pictures of. And it checks so many boxes for me so well. I don't know. This might be my most exciting knife ever. And obviously right now it's still kind of the honeymoon phase. I've only had it for a couple of days. Once that has worn off a little bit, once I've had it for a good while, I'm going to be doing a head-to-head with the Koenig Arius with this. Because I've done that a couple of times with my Koenig Arius. I've put it up against really heavy hitter contenders that have come into my collection or my possession just to see if they could dethrone it. And nothing has so far. And I think this might. It's that good for me. And if you know me, and you know, if you've heard me talk about the Arius, you know that I genuinely, that's been my favorite knife for a long time. I adore the Arius. And this costs a whole lot more than my Arius did. Like $1,000 more, which is crazy. And so I should like it more. But there have been other knives that cost more than the Arius that I haven't liked more. And this, I think I'm right now in the honeymoon phase. I definitely am. We'll see if that lasts. So, anyway, this is my Munroe Sigil. This one's number 5 from the 2021 run, and I am elated about this knife. I absolutely have been adoring it, and it's just impressing me a lot. So first impressions are very, very good. I have been in no way disappointed in this knife. I have only been thrilled by it so far. So relatively soon, I'll be doing a full review. It probably won't take all that long with how much this knife just lives in my pocket. I'll probably get there pretty quick. But yeah, thanks for checking it out, guys. And we'll see you on the next one.